What's up, guys? Welcome back to the channel for another review. Today we are taking a look at a Pixar film, and I was trying to remember the last one of these that I had reviewed because it felt like it had been a while. Then I looked back to my list from last year and remembered that Inside Out 2 came out. I know people often talk about Pixar as a dying company in terms of the overall trend that they have been experiencing over the last couple of years, and that generally speaking, the quality of their films has gone down. With that said, I do believe people tend to exaggerate just how bad they have gotten. There are still plenty of gems in their recent filmography, whether we're talking about Inside Out 2, or Coco, or Soul. There are some good films packed in there, and I haven't hated any of them. There have certainly been some duds. My point is, I still think the average Pixar film is better than your average animated film from pretty much any other studio, except for DreamWorks. DreamWorks has been stepping it up lately. So Elio is the one that we're here to talk about today, and it's a pretty simple, straightforward film that follows a young boy named Elio. He's an orphan, a social outcast, and he lives with his aunt who doesn't really understand him, and he copes with his feelings of isolation and loneliness by turning to the stars, hoping to be abducted by aliens, with the idea that he may be able to find purpose in the cosmos. One day he gets his wish, and by complete mistake he is brought before this council on a floating city called the Communiverse. It's basically this hub in which aliens from all kinds of different worlds show up as ambassadors to their species to negotiate and share knowledge. Look, this movie's about 90 minutes. It's short, it keeps things straightforward and simple, so am I. I think Elio is fine. It is adequately heartwarming. It's gorgeous to look at. I don't think there's a single Pixar film that comes straight to my mind that I think looks bad or even mediocre. They always look magnificent. But in terms of visual style, I think this one really stands out. The human characters emote with such gravitas that even when the script fails them a little bit, I still feel invested. I still feel the emotion that comes off of the screen. And because this is a film that explores space and extraterrestrials, I have to say the alien designs are very creative and interesting. And a lot of the lighting choices and the use of shadows and lack of shadows and reflections is strong here. Something that a lot of people might not pick up on because it's a small detail in certain scenes. And even though I think the short runtime might actually hurt the film more than it helps it because it limits it to be such a shallow exploration of a world that I could have seen a lot more detail in if they would have explored it more. Some of the characters are pretty good. The main extraterrestrial that Elio befriends is an eyeless 6-foot caterpillar named Glorden, and they somehow managed to make that character both compelling and adorable. Given the description I just provided, you might find that hard to believe, but I found that to be the case. And one thing that I will point out is I was always that kid who was fascinated with the possibility of life outside of Earth. So perhaps I have somewhat of a bias towards this movie by the simple fact that I can relate to the main kid. And moving into the negatives, or more so shortcomings of this film, it just sticks to the formula to a T. You can predict when certain emotional moments are about to happen, how they're going to shape Elio's decisions. At a certain point, I knew exactly where it was going, and there were no more surprises from that point on. And that doesn't mean it's not enjoyable, but the main villain is a bit generic. He's the father of Glorden, and there are obvious parallels between that parenthood relationship and Elio's relationship with his aunt. But despite the rumors of them completely reworking the story at some point in its development, I think it does come together for a cohesive, resonant finale with purposeful messaging. It's just very shallow and not necessarily something that I would rush to the theater to see. If you need something to entertain your kids and you want to accompany them, this is certainly a fine choice. You're not going to find them bored. I think it's visually imaginative enough to keep their attention. As far as where it ranks in Pixar's catalog, I'd say this is better than Lightyear and Turning Red. Not quite as good as Luca or Coco or even Inside Out 2. I think I'd put it in the same league as Elemental. It's fun but forgettable. I'm going to give Elio 3 stars. I'm a little bit disappointed by this one, and not because I had sky-high expectations, but just the fact that we know that this company is capable of delivering much stronger films. I mean, God, Toy Story, Ratatouille, there are so many that I can think of that spring right to my mind that are clear 10 out of 10s and some of the best in animation history. So I guess I'll end this video by saying if you're looking for a return to form and you haven't liked the catalog, the films that they've been outputting over the last couple of years, I don't think this one's going to win you back. So those are my quick thoughts on the film. Be sure to let me know down in the comments what you think of it. Hit that like button and subscribe if you want more content like this. I'll catch you guys in the next one. See you later.